Hello friends, this is part 2 video of Subhash Chandra Bose and Indian National Army. अगर आप ये वीडियो हिंदी में देखना चाहते हैं तो डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए लिंक पर क्लिक करें. In the part 1 video, I had covered till the point where Subhash Chandra Bose boarded the submarine and was on the way to Japan. But before he reaches Japan, we should understand the activities which were happening with respect to Japan. Actually, there were a couple of important events which took place with respect to Japan. So let's go into the flashback to look into it. In the very beginning of part 1 video, I mentioned that as soon as the World War II started, Lord Linlithgow sent around 70,000 Indian troops to British Southeast Asian colonies. He sent these troops here to protect these colonies from the Japanese attack. Mohan Singh was the head of troops sent to Malaya. Japanese forces came with a vengeance. They attacked and occupied all the Southeast Asian British colonies and captured a lot of British Indian soldiers and made them prisoners of war. Now you might remember from the Gadar movement video that after Gadar movement failed in the year 1915, Raj Bihari Bose fled to Japan. At Japan, in 1942 he formed Indian Independence League with the support of Japanese government. Purpose behind the Indian Independence League was to achieve Indian independence. Raj Bihari Bose convinced Japanese government to form an army under his organization so that this army can attack the British army and get India its independence. Idea behind all this was to form an army by gathering all the prisoners of war in Malaya and other Southeast Asian colonies. Raj Bihari Bose met Mohan Singh along with the Japanese officer Major Fujihara and gave the responsibility of forming this army to Mohan Singh. But it was a tough decision for Mohan Singh. He had joined British Indian Army at the age of 18 and now he was asked to form an army to fight against the same British Indian Army to which he had served for so long. Though it was a tough decision, but Mohan Singh agreed as for him, India came first. He started the process to form this army. Around 4,000 soldiers were picked from Malaya, another 40,000 from Singapore, and in the similar manner, prisoners of war were picked from all Southeast Asian colonies. And in this way, Indian National Army was formed. Mohan Singh became the general of this army. This army was also called the First Indian National Army. But Mohan Singh started to have the similar feelings for Japan as Netaji had for Germany, which means Mohan Singh started to doubt Japanese intentions behind forming Indian National Army. This led to several disagreements between Mohan Singh and Japan and ultimately led to a lot of conflicts. And as a result, Japanese government removed Mohan Singh from his command on 29 December 1942. He was taken into the custody by the Japanese military police. In fact, the Indian National Army was also disbanded and all the soldiers were sent back to the prisoners of war camp. So this was the flashback. Let's see what happened when Subhash Chandra Bose arrived in Japan. With the arrival of Netaji, the idea of forming an independence army was revived. In July 1943, Raj Bihari Bose gave the control of Indian Independence League to Subhash Chandra Bose in a meeting called at Singapore. With the effort of Subhash Chandra Bose, Indian National Army was revived and formed again. Netaji was a very popular leader. As soon as people get to know that Netaji is leading Indian National Army, Indian population at various Southeast Asian countries came in support of Indian National Army. A large number of civilian population too had joined INA. Not only this, Indian National Army received a lot of financial support from these people as well. This army had a separate women unit as well, whose name was Rani of Jhansi Regiment. This regiment was led by Captain Lakshmi Swaminathan. Only Netaji could have thought of an idea of forming an all-women combat squad at that time. This was the first all-women combat in the history of military. Another important feature of Indian National Army was that there was no discrimination between Indian National Army soldiers. Soldiers from different religions were treated equally. They used to live together, eat together. Not only religion, discrimination based on caste, creed and color was also not there. If we compare it with the British Indian Army, we could see a huge difference, as regiment formed in British Indian Army were based on religion as well. Sikh regiment is an example of religious discrimination in British Indian Army. Indian National Army had total of 4 brigades: Gandhi Brigade, Azad Brigade, Nehru Brigade and Subhas Brigade. If you have come across the song Kadam Kadam Badhai Ja, this was basically the regimental quick march of Subhash Chandra Bose Indian National Army. Not only this, The famous salutation of Jai Hind, which Indian military uses even now, was given by Indian National Army. Here we need to understand that Netaji has not only formed Indian National Army, he had formed a provisional government of India, whose name was Azad Hind government. Indian National Army was basically an army of this government, and for this very reason, Indian National Army was also called Azad Hind Fauj. Azad Hind government was basically a provisional government which was established with Singapore as its headquarters. Azad Hind government had their own currency notes, postage stamps. In fact, they had their own courts and civil laws as well. Prime Minister of this government was Subhash Chandra Bose, and like any other government, they also had a lot of ministers as well. For instance, Minister of Broadcasting and Publicity was Mr. S.A. Iyer, whereas Lieutenant Colonel A.C. Chatterjee was the Minister of Finance. There were other ministers as well. It is also important to note that there were a total of 9 countries which recognized Azad Hind government. These countries were Germany, Japan, Italy, Croatia, China, Burma, and Philippines. Azad Hind government had set up diplomatic relations with all these countries. But we should not forget that Azad Hind government was established with the financial, political, and military support of Japan. Another important point we need to understand is that Azad Hind government possessed all the nominal requisites of legitimate government, but still lacked definite areas of sovereign territory. But the solution to this problem was found in year 1943 itself, when Japan captured Andaman and Nicobar Islands on December 29, 1943. Japan gave the nominal authority of the captured island, that is Andaman and Nicobar Islands, to Azad Hind government. It means that Japan had passed the political control of these islands to Azad Hind government. Azad Hind government renamed these islands to Shahid and Swaraj in April 1944. While fighting along with Imperial Japanese Army, Azad Hind Fauj registered their first victory on Indian soil. They captured Arakan, Manipur, and Nagaland. Indian National Army had entered in Nagaland's Kohima, Manipur's Imphal. We should note that this was a time when Indian National Army unfurled the Indian flag for the first time on Indian soil at Moirang. Moirang is basically a place in Manipur. After this, on 4th July 1944 at Burma, Subhash Chandra Bose gave a motivational speech to Indian National Army. It was this speech where he said, "Give me blood and I shall give you the freedom." But after all this, due to limited supply lines and logistics, combined forces of Japanese and Azad Hind Fauj could not face the air raids done by the British Air Force. Azad Hind Fauj and Japanese army had to retreat, and ultimately British forces reoccupied all the captured territories. Japan and Azad Hind Fauj had lost the Burma campaign, and approximately 16,000 Azad Hind Fauj soldiers were captured by British Indian Army and were made prisoners of war. After this, in August 1945, a news came that Netaji died in a plane crash. And with this, the dream of Azad Hind Fauj was shattered. Ultimately, on 2nd September 1945, World War II came to an end, and Britain and other Allied forces emerged as a winner. Notes of this video is available at bookstawa.com website. Link is available in the description. Bookstawa channel has got lot of videos on history. You can check out these videos as well. In the modern history playlist, you can find the videos right from the arrival of Britishers till the independence of India. If you have enjoyed watching this video, do hit the like button and subscribe to stay tuned and to watch more such videos. Thank you so much for watching Bookstawa.